Pow, 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 pow. Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies. And today I'm going to continue with the review of, with a local review where I review movies from where I'm from and where I'm at right now. That is Hong Kong. And today I will be reviewing the movie Chungking Express, or in Cantonese,重慶森林, which is weird because if you literally translate the Cantonese name of this movie to English, it would be Chungking Jungle, but not Chungking Express. So, but anyways, Chungking Express, written and directed by the one and only Wong Kar-Wai, Wong Kar-Wai, and Wong Kar-Wai is the ultimate director of Hong Kong. Every single person who is a cinephile in Hong Kong knows Wong Kar-Wai because he is the master director of Hong Kong. He had come out with so many classic works, and before watching his movies, I was also a little skeptical. Like, what's the deal with him? What's all the fuzz? But I watched In the Mood for Love like a few weeks ago, and I thought, while it's a very strange experience for me, because this kind of movie, how disjointed it is, how inaccessible it is, it's a little weird. But at the very, very end, I actually came out of this movie sort of enjoying and appreciating how poignant and poignant and poetic it is. And now we have Chungking Express, which is a movie released in the year 1994, which is 6 years before In the Mood for Love, but also stars Tony Leung Chiu-Wai. I was surprised when I see him show up in the movie again, because I've already seen 3 movies lately where he also shows up, and in 2 of them he plays a cop. So in this movie he also plays a cop, so do not be alarmed if you see Tony Leung in a police suit, because he just plays cops all the time for some reason. But anyways, this movie is actually 2 movies put together, 2 shorter movies put together, and both of these movies are also love stories. The first part being this Taiwanese-Japanese man who is an undercover cop who falls in love with a drug dealer who wears a blonde wig, who wears shades and lipsticks and is very mysterious and secret about her own identity. And that's the first 40 minutes of this movie. And then for the last hour of this movie, we have Tony Leung, the cop, who just had a breakup with his air stewardess girlfriend, and now fallen in love with this other woman who works in a store, in a, what's the word I'm looking for, in a snack store, not snack store, food store, in a food store. Yeah, so it's 2 different movies. It's 2 different movies, but put together at the same time. So I guess that is one of the things about this movie that I don't quite understand, is that it's actually 2 stories put together. But anyways, the only connection between these 2 stories is that the male side of the thing also goes to the same food store. And that's the only connection. So for the first 40 minutes, again, the Taiwanese-Japanese undercover cop and the mysterious woman in the blonde wig who smuggles drugs with the help of Indians in the Chungking mansion, or Indians, Pakistanis, not to assume any races, okay? I'm not assuming any races. But while it's a very short story, and the story doesn't really tell us all that much about the blonde woman. Why is she dealing drugs? What is she gonna do next? Is she in danger? What is she trying to do? We don't really know that, because the focus of both of these stories are love, and that's it. So we're not gonna know what's going on in, Tony Leung's character's police life. We're also not gonna know anything about the Taiwanese Japanese boy's background. All we know is how these two people met and how they sort of fell in love with one another, or at least feel like they are falling in love with one another. Yeah, so the stories being told in this movie, they are like recalling a hazy memory because, again, the passage of time is not linear, or at least it doesn't feel linear. It feels very jumpy and disjointed, similarly with In the Mood for Love. I feel like this movie is a little bit easier to follow than In the Mood for Love, but they're still pretty blurry and hazy, I must admit. And also, there are a lot of moments where you sort of don't understand what's going on. It's almost like love being depicted in these two stories are also a delusional thing, because the Taiwanese Japanese boy, he would always mention May. So these four characters, right? Two men, two women, all of them have narration in this movie, but yet they never talk about themselves, but they vaguely describe their situations. And again, with the Taiwanese Japanese boy, he constantly talks about May, how he misses May and how he met another May, and apparently May is not one person, or at least that's how I speculate it is. Maybe he used to date a person called May, and he expects his next date to also be his May, but he's not really referring to the particular person May. Yeah, and then again in the second story we see Tony Leung, the cop, and how he broke up with his air stewardess girlfriend, and his character always describes his newest love interest as an air stewardess also, and makes all these metaphors about how his latest date wants to, fly to another country, how she's gonna give him a boarding pass, even though she's not really the air stewardess that he is referring to. There are also a lot of metaphorical moments in this movie that I really, really enjoy. The nuance, the subtlety, it's fantastic. It is brilliant. Like, again, in the first story, the Taiwanese Japanese boy, how he would collect cans of expired canned pineapples, and how he would eat 30 of those cans in one night, and simply because his ex-girlfriend used to enjoy eating canned pineapples, so he wanted to eat 30 cans of pineapples at the night before his birthday. And then on the next day he would meet the woman in the blonde wig, who, by the way, doesn't have a name. She's literally credited as the woman in the blonde wig. And then later on in the second story, when there's a flood in the cop's house, the cop would describe that his house is crying. And when the cop is alone, he would, have conversations with inanimate objects, like, with a bottle of beer, or with a plushie doll, with his towel, and he would sort of speak to them because he's lonely. Again, there are all sorts of montages in this movie that are really well edited. There are these sequences where the frame rate is super low, and the camera is handheld, so it's very shaky, so we don't really know what's going on. We know that something's happening, but we don't really know what's going on. And I actually kind of like that, because, again, it's not what's going on that matters. It's the vibe that matters. It's the mood that matters. And again, we have montages in the second half of the story where we see the woman who works in the food store constantly sneaking into the cop's apartment. But we sort of don't know if the cop is aware of that or not, because at first it seems like the cop is aware, but then in the next few scenes it seems like he's not aware the whole time. So we don't really know what's going on. All we know is that it feels like a fever dream. All of this, sneaking into places, it all feels like a fever dream. And yeah, I think the characters, they're beautifully written. Again, characters that are mysterious, characters that are energetic and cute, like the woman working in the food store. She likes to play loud music. She always plays that one song. That's another thing with Wong Kar-Wai movies, is that he always plays that one song over and over and over and over again. Like again, in The Mood for Love, he would play the song Kisas 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 over and over again in the latter half of the movie. And I guess I don't really care for the repetition of the same song in the soundtrack, but I think the soundtrack of this movie actually works in the favor of this movie. Yeah, other than that, I feel like this is still a very inaccessible movie. It takes time to digest this movie. I feel like it is written professionally, directed professionally. The cinematography is great. It is fantastic. And I actually enjoy the dialogues in this movie a lot. Even more so than in The Mood for Love. But maybe if you want to go for a more rustic, smoky, and more disorienting vibe, In the Mood for Love will be your cup of tea. But if you want to see something more grounded, more dreamy, Chungking Express would be your cup of tea. But both of these films are still very inaccessible and disjointed. Yeah. I guess after watching this movie, now I kind of appreciate In the Mood for Love a little more, because I know that the very strange, jarring jump cuts and the very disorienting repetitions in The Mood for Love are actually intentional. Yeah, overall, I think Chungking Express is a great movie. And it is an experience. It's more of a poignant experience. It's more of a poetic view of love, how dreamy and hazy and fantastical it is, rather than being an actual plot movie, you know? Yeah. I'm saying Chungking Express is a movie worth watching, and I'm giving it a light to decent 9 out of 10. So, have you watched Chungking Express? From 1 to 10, how much you rate it? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.